So I was thinking, because Eric asked me to say a few words just before we get started, I think we maybe should think about retitling the conference. And I want all of us to start thinking about a different name. Or you can vote to have it the same name, because it appears that everyone is now stealing the conference's name. Of course, Natalie Brunell came out with her book, Bitcoin is for Everyone. I discovered that Mike Novogratz said Bitcoin is for everyone back in November of 20 on Yahoo Finance. Jack Dorsey told Alex Gladstein of the Human Rights Foundation, said Bitcoin is for everyone. And my very good friend, Tor Strolight, wrote a great article that I love. You guys should all check it out, called Bitcoin is for Everyone. One thing I love is that in the article he said, Bitcoin is for everyone because Bitcoin is for anyone. And I love the idea of that Bitcoin is sort of this public, neutral good. It's good for the world, it's good for the masses, because it's good for any individual. The cypherpunk, the libertarian, anyone can choose it. So it's sort of like the mechanics of it being good for anyone are, good for the outcome. That's kind of the way I read it. Michael Saylor said Bitcoin is for everyone back in June 6, 23. And so again, the name of this conference is Bitcoin is for Everyone. Now, some of you guys know me as like a Hollywood guy or a real estate guy, and more recently, of course, as a Bitcoin guy. But what you don't know is I'm sort of a hobbyist, armchair branding dude. I love to come up with names and titles and whatnot. And when it was time for me to write my Bitcoin book in 23, I wanted to play off of Bitcoin's protocol, proof of work. And so I came up with proof of money. I really like what it says. I feel that Bitcoin is the proof that we finally have money, and that up until now we never have. We've had substitutes, we've had surrogates, we've done the best that we can, what we could dig up, evaporate from the ocean, pull off of a bird, but then Satoshi gave us this wonderful gift. But because of my branding expertise, there's no conference named Proof of Money. No one else is saying Proof of Money. I'm the only one saying Proof of Money. And to be honest, Nat Brunell, it's not her fault. What you may not know is I gave her the title Bitcoin is for Everyone because when she first gave me a manuscript, we both lived in Santa Monica, we both went to Pepperdine University, her original title was Bitcoin is for my bitches. And I said, Nat, this is not the most professional title. We really, it's not welcoming for who you are. You're on CNBC, you're on Fox News. And I've been doing this for a lot of people. People don't know this. Even Larry Lepard in Nashville a couple years ago, he said, I want to write a book. I said, great. What do you want to call it? And he said, The Excessively Large Ink Cartridge. And I was like, Larry, it's very boomerish. No one really uses ink anymore. So I gave him the big print. And even our own VJ Boyati, an article that I loved, I read in 2018, I sent it to my dad. My dad read it, and he said, if even half of what VJ says in this article is right, you better get some Bitcoin. And it was really, really helpful. But what my dad didn't know was VJ sent me his original manuscript, and it was titled, A Strong Argument for Bitcoin's Exchange Price to be Much Higher in the Future. And I said, VJ, I think we could wordsmith this a little better. So we fixed that. And even great people like Lynn Alden, right? She gave us Nothing Stops This Train, which she popularized after borrowing from Breaking Bad. But her original manuscript she sent to me, again, hearing about my branding brilliance. And this was the title of her original book, Money That's Cracked in Pieces and Doesn't Work. So I gave her Broken Money. Now, not everyone listens to me. Some of us know Jason Williams' book, Hard Money You Can't F With. I thought that was a little macho and aggressive. I said, you're not going to really welcome the ladies. So I gave him this title, Money Can't Make Sweet, Sweet Love To, but he didn't go with it. So not everyone wants to go with my titles. Same with these guys. By the way, I love Bailey, Rettler, and Warmke, these philosophers, academics, educators. I think they're really good friends with Troy. One of my favorite Bitcoin books, by the way. But this just felt a little too defiant and protesty. I don't know. So I said something more accessible might be Money That Says I Don't Think So. But they didn't go with it. Anyways, I'm almost done. I'm told before we keep going to thank Unchained, one of the sponsors today. By the way, I personally use Unchained. I love Unchained. I learned a lot about multi-signature from them, and I think they're great for any type of collaborative security model. What you may not know was back in the day, they weren't called Unchained. Yes, I named Unchained as well. They originally were titled Untethered from Metal Circles. So you can see, so listen to me when I say we should come up with a different name for the conference. And our platinum sponsor, Abundant Minds, Bo is here. When he and Christine first founded and came up with this company, they were called So Many, Many Minds. And I said, Bo, like the hairs on your head, let's just call it Abundant Minds. So back to Bitcoin is for Everyone. As we go throughout the day and you have any ideas how to alter this title or just stay with the same title, reach out to Eric Blackstone, let him know what your thoughts. I've already given him mine. I vote next year we call it Bitcoin is for everyone except you if you're stupid. And on that note, I'm going to introduce our first two speakers, Troy Cross and Vijay Boyapati, who I believe are going to speak a little bit about Bitcoin being for everyone. Thank you.